These two extremely different vehicles here. As you can see, Yanucci in the RX-8. I believe that is just a Cam and Heads LS. Johnson in the Mustang, that is a supercharged Coyote underneath the hood of the S550. Alright, we can see that on the line. Looks like this layout is going to be very demanding here today. We are running the big bank on the outside of initiation all the way down through into the infield. Multiple transitions, very tight layout once you get off the bank. So all the speed coming off the bank going to have to be managed extremely well coming into the infield. Confirmations come in, we are good to send cars. You can see Yanucci jumping the line just a little bit there. Bit shallow, maybe a 1 to 2 car gap between them as they finish off the first half of that battle. All right, we're going to switch them around there, give Yanucci a chance to answer back on Johnson with the big power Mustang. Alright, they leave the line, get Yanucci in the lead. Immediately pulls a 2 or 3 car gap. And they make contact there in the final outside zone. Very unfortunate event there for Yanucci, doing a fantastic job. 90% of that run and then a little bit of contact there between the two. And you can see there on the screen, Nick Johnson going to be moving on there over to Nick Yanucci. The all-Nick battle there, Mustang versus RX-8. Right on the line there, you can see Nate Braxton in the Corvette and Jeff Clark in the Mustang. Braxton going to lead the way first here on the first half of this battle. Just some technical difficulties up here from a couple of the drone pilots. Got to get that sorted out. Once again, this is just a seeding bracket, so these guys are not competing for winning the overall event. They are only competing to see where they will stack up in the final top 32 bracket. We're good to see a little bit of wavering there coming around that first big outside zone by Braxton in the lead. And I'm not sure if the camera does it justice, but the big bank here at Lake Erie Speedway would be demanding, to say the least, in anywhere near a stock powered drift car. So these guys doing their best to try and make it all work. Jeff Clark, I know for a fact, has got to drive here with a similar layout earlier in the season where we did get to run the bank, and ultimately coming across as it was a good time, but very, very difficult there in the Mustang. Take a look here at the YouTube chat while we are waiting for the judges to make a decision. I see that Tom Perner is obviously here, Mr. Pernstar, John Janke, Josh Smith, Miles Spellman. What is up, guys? Everybody hanging out. I can see did Fizz Nizzy go yet? No, he has not. But he did look phenomenal in practice, so hopefully good things happen, because this is obviously his first time out here for the year. And you can see on your screen there, Nate Braxton going to take the win unanimously over Jeff Clark. All right, just talking with the judges up here. Yeah. And ultimately what it came down to was Jeff obviously had that over rotation in the first half of that battle, and then the second, late initiation, not quite getting that car to angle before the first zone on the 3-2-1 lines leading up the wall. On the line there, waiting to take what I believe is going to be a buy run, is Henry Donahue. Interesting story this week from Henry. The engine in that car lost oil pressure last weekend. They tore the engine completely down, redid all the bearings, rebuilt it, had it back in the car and ready to go for this morning. So insane effort there for him to be out on the track today. And so seems to be in good spirits. Car seems to be running well. So good luck to Mr. Donahue here today. Two transitions here through the infield of the track are proving difficult for sure, especially carrying all the speed coming off the bank and then having to manage that as you hit the touch and go and then transition to that next outside zone. And you can see there on your screen now a graphic of the bracket for the seating. It looks like Jake Schuster, Nick Johnson, Nate Braxton, Chris Fosnock are going to be the first two battles in the second round of seating here. Coming up next, we're going to have Liam Stanford, a new competitor here at Lake Erie Speedway, and Theon Nelson. Theon Nelson in the Turbo 370Z. Liam Stanford, from what I can gather, that is a some version of an LS, definitely a built engine under the hood of the E46. Got a chance to talk to Liam a little bit there while I was helping with tech this morning, and Liam says this is the third time that he's been behind the wheel of that car, so it is really interesting to see what corrections, even a little bit of a straighten there coming from that inside clip to the final outside zone. So I can definitely see Theon being a bit of an advantage here coming into the second half of this battle. I did not get to see him chase at all in practice, so really interested to see what Theon does. Situation there with Stanford in the lead coming off the bank. You have so much speed coming around the bank, and then we're forcing this decreasing radius turn to get off the wall and then try and make it to this touch and go, which is still the outside of the track technically, but the corner is tightening as you make your way through it. And then just that really, really snappy quick transition to make it to the second outside zone here in the infield of the track. Definitely going to be, I would say, one of the more difficult points for the day here, and definitely going to be one of the situations where people are going to have to manage speed extremely, extremely well. just waiting for a decision to be made here. I believe the judges have requested a side-by-side of these two runs. While we are waiting here, I just want to give you guys a quick rundown of the previous events here for the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. Just to run through your winners real quick. Round 1, Alan Moss. Round 2, Andre Musienko. And round 3, Colin Gillespie. All of those drivers obviously going to be locked into the top 32 here this evening once seating is over. On the screen, over Liam Stanford here in your top 32 seating bracket. On the line now. Pretty good job there managing distance all the way through the run, especially getting such a gap put on there as they initiate. Hoyer, another first timer here, competing in the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. Right on the screen there, unanimously, Kyle Hoyer going to move on over Ryan Bucci here in the top 32 seating battles. All right, on the line there, you can see Kevin Ferraro going to lead the way, aka Fizz Nizzy, as he is being called out in the YouTube stream chat here. Going to be chasing him is a completely stock power, stock angle, just suspension and a cage in the 370Z, driven by Brendan Fraley. Kevin Ferraro Turbo M52. Kevin Ferraro is, I would say, in my opinion, one of the most consistently clean riders at the DriftClips Prem Series. He hasn't been out this year, but he is also in the process of building a new, bigger, badder car for the series. So, shout out to him for coming out and making it to at least one round. Really interested to see what happens here. I know that Kevin's E36 is extremely fast, whole bunch of grip in that car, and going to be a little bit of a challenge for him to chase a stock-powered Z like Brendan is driving in the lead. And I know that Brendan's struggling during practice to get up all the way out of the bank, not able to maintain that power. Definitely, I would say the best lead chase we've had so far today. And there you can see it on the screen, Kevin Ferraro unanimously going to move forward in the seating bracket, ultimately causing the loss there for Fraley was in chase. Kevin did not make any major mistakes on the bank, and Fraley obviously was coming off the bank, so automatic clear there. Chasing Kevin with just a dynamite lead. And then when he was in chase, doing a very, very good job managing space, managing distance and speed there with the chase driver. Coming up on the line there, you can see Nick Johnson going to chase first, and on the far side of your screen, Jake Schuster. Jake Schuster in a very interesting car here. That is a carbureted 358 cubic inch small block Chevy in an E36. Playing it safe, but very good job there by Schuster in the lead. I gotta switch him around and see how Johnson can answer on the second half of this battle, giving him a chance to lead, put down a line, and see Jake Schuster going to chase for the first time today in competition. They have left the line. Johnson going to be in lead. blame just drive into the back of the Mustang on that kind of awkward transition coming from that touch and go to the second outside zone. All right, now on your screen there, you can see Nick Johnson going to move on over Jake Schuster. All right, while we're waiting to send cars here, just taking a look at the YouTube chat. Burn Star says, I don't think anyone gets eliminated. No, this is just a seating bracket, so this is just where they're going to compete.
Break stone. You come up without your car to the lineup and need a picture of you and your driver.
All right, on the line there, Henry Donahue going to lead the way over Theon Nelson. Don't trust. Out there with maybe a 2-car gap between them. Henry doing a pretty good job there in the lead all the way around the track, just a little bit shallow on the bank. All right, you can see that on the screen, a cone stuck underneath of the E46 of Henry Donahue. Just going to pull that out and throw it somewhere safe. All right, Theon going to lead the way now for Henry Donahue. All right, they've left the line. Theon in the lead. Henry Donahue in pace. Fantastic job there in the lead, makes it to all the zones, and you saw there in that first battle that he was in, he has a stellar lead line on this layout. As we wait for the judges here, just want to remind everybody once again, this is the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. This is a seeding bracket. This is just guys competing to see where they're going to go against the people that we have locked into our top 32 already for our previous high-level competitors here in rounds 1, 2, and 3. as we're waiting here, just taking a look at the stream. I see a shout out to whoever's talking. That's me, that's Zach. I'm Zach Snyder out here commentating, playing Lone Ranger up here in the booth today. You can see Theon Nelson going to take the win over Henry Donahue. So getting confirmation from the guys up here in the booth once again, that is a late initiation. And I can see that being an issue on this layout specifically because the bank is a daunting task and you want to get as much speed as you can before initiation. You can see Kyle Hoyer going to lead the way for Kevin Ferraro here. G35. Doing a fantastic job there in the chase, making up for that kind of almost sort of an early leave of the first outside zone to make the transition into the infield there by Kyle Hoyer. We're going to flip the guys around here and let Kevin lead the way. There in the chase, following this series, ECU Master USA, Drift Ohio, New York, and Distinct Drift. Distinct Drift, the best place around to get your Zestino tire needs. I'm getting confirmation now as well that Distinct Drift is the East Coast United States #1 Zestino tire distributor. So shout out to them. If you're the guy who comes out just likes to party and come to Mad Series events, Zestino Tires has something to cover you there as well. Absolutely phenomenal life on their tires. Grip everywhere you need it. And if you want to come out and you want to compete as well, I know the tires come in all kinds of crazy sizes and everything else. Obviously, we have a 265mm section width roll here for the Pro-Am Series. All right, Kevin Ferraro going to get the win there over Kyle Hoyer. Right on the line, Brackstone in the Corvette versus Nick Johnson in that Mustang. The third time we've seen the Mustang out here today. Brackstone earlier on having a little bit of a struggle there, making his way around the Mustang. Goes forward tire there into the infield. Braxton, another one who was supposed to compete here in previous rounds, I believe round 3, but ultimately ended up losing a slave cylinder on the Corvette during practice and was not able to actually make it into competition. So I do believe this is actually his first time competing here as well. All right, we're just going to give the people out here on the track. I know the media this weekend pulling double duty, helping reset cones and such. Just going to reset that outside zone there, the Braxton. All right, track is reset, cones are re-racked and ready to go. Johnson going to lead the way here. Interested to see what Braxton does here in the chase, because that very, very slight amount of angle there in the Corvette. Have to assume that's going to make it fairly intense. All right, there you have it. Nick Johnson moving on over Nate Braxton here in the Corvette. Johnson in the S550 Mustang. That 550 is one of the cleanest cars I've seen up close. It is a supercharged Coyote and absolutely immaculate all around the car. I have not seen him really abuse it too badly yet, so. All right, Dion Nelson going to lead the way for Kevin Ferraro. Both of these guys with very, very good lead lines, and we've already seen the chase. In the infield, so extremely good job by both guys. Theon maybe just a little bit too much of a brake check there coming off the bank, but Kevin Ferraro proving that it can be dealt with, and he did exactly that. Ferraro going to lead the way from Dion Nelson. Dion jumps the light by just like a half a second. This is a hard one to judge in my mind. Both of these guys have stellar, immaculate leads, and their chases, I would say, were 1 for 1. Kevin maybe just a little bit of a struggle there in the chase, kind of dealing with that big brake check from Theon coming into the infield, but neither one of them struggling. Both made it look good. I am looking here in the YouTube chat. I wish we could see the layout from above. So let me run this through for you real quick just to kind of give you guys an idea of what the layout looks like. They are coming straight down the wall. The first zone is the entire bank wall of turns what would be 3 and 4. They're coming off the bank. There is an outside zone. As soon as they come off the bank, transition into the infield, there is an outside zone as well. Then you have to tighten up to an inside flip where this green yellowish cone is, and then they are just going against the wall. So basically think the FD layout that was here, except for instead of running the entire apron, we're just going to transition into an outside zone, run it up to the bank, and then the shutdown is as soon as you get basically on the bank. All right, judges requesting a side-by-side for these guys. So we will give you a side-by-side anyway, but ultimately I believe the call is one more time. And you can see what I was talking about there on the right side. As Theon comes off the bank, you go into that outside zone, and then you have this really, really quick transition from outside to outside. And Theon, I think it's just a grip thing, and the 370Z has to slow the car down a good bit. Ultimately, he stays on line. Everything's where it needs to be. It's just a lot of speed to pull out of the car really quick. You can see that on the screen. We are at Lake Erie Speedway. This track has so many things going on all the time. Drifting, though, is the one that the guys that are here obviously know and love for what it is. We have the Matt Series events. You can see there on the screen. All of the ats for all of the social media is Lake Erie Speedway or Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. Taking a look now at the bracket, it looks like Theon and Kevin have to do their one more time, and then we will get a final battle here for the top, well, round 4 seeding, not top 32, excuse me. I see in the chat, is the Rusty Wheel open? Yes, they are, absolutely. If you are hungry, if you are thirsty, if you want the best track food in the United States, the Rusty Wheel is here at Lake Erie Speedway. It is amazing. While we give these guys a minute to go back, get the cars cooled down, check their tires, do all the things you need to do between battles, because they are the one more time between Ferraro and Nelson is going to define the final battle of the seeding bracket. I just want to reiterate once again, this is the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. You can see on the screen, Lake Erie Speedway, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the things. This is the seeding bracket. This is just guys competing to see where they're going to stack up in our top 32 here later on. This is brought to you by Pro Waste Services, Formula Drift, ECU Master USA, Drift P Ohio, New York, and Distinct Drift, which is the #1 Zestino dealer on the East Coast of the United States. I am seeing in the YouTube chat chicken waffle pizza logs. Absolutely. You can see on the screen there the camera just kind of panning that bank wall, showing all the sponsors of the Speedway here, Afton, Safford, Summit Racing Equipment, Pro Waste Services, Hallman Chevrolet, Marquette Savings Bank, Rocket 105. This is all the sponsors for the Speedway itself. Lake Erie Speedway is hosting the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. A huge shout out to Great Lakes, to the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series, and a special thank you to Lake Erie Speedway. This place has come to be a bit of a home for all of the local drivers here. You can come out to one of the Matt Series events later on in the year. We have a final drift event, which I'm not, what are we calling? Yeah, so the final drift event here is typically Smash a Lantern, is what it has been called in the past, where we hang pumpkins off the wall and you get a big crazy baller trophy if you're the guy who can take down the most pumpkins in a single wall ride. But ultimately, pumpkins are extremely heavy and they do a lot of damage to most people's cars. So instead of doing that this year, we are doing almost like a cosmic bowling style Neon Nights drift event. Neon Glow is what I'm being told it's called. Matt Series. The Matt Series events here, absolutely bananas. You're talking like 180 plus drivers at all times on the property. We will completely fill the paddock with people, cars, parties, all the things. Drive all day. The lights don't go out till 11:30, and then obviously shenanigans beyond then. But absolutely fantastic. If you haven't come out to one, I recommend you do. If you buy yourself a spectator pass and get you into the pits, you have full access to everything. Same here with the Pro-Am Series. If you come out just to spectate, you can buy your way in, you get your armband, you can walk all through the pits, talk to all the drivers, all their friends, get to look at all the cars and all the builds and all the different things that are out here. And drifting is kind of an interesting thing because, I mean, in the pits, you have everything from like a 5.2 Voodoo-powered S197 chassis Mustang through a turboed 1.8 Miata, who I believe is his teammate. So a little bit of everything in the pits every single round. Lots and lots of V8 swap cars, 240s, Mustangs, Corvettes, you name it, everything's out there. So take an afternoon, come out, and just get your foot in the door, man. This sport's crazy. It's the fastest growing sport in the United States. I believe one of the fastest growing motorsports in the country. And everyone who does it, for the most part, is an absolutely lovely human being. Very accepting community of individuals. And you can come to a Matt Series, you can bring a completely stock car, or you can build something crazy. There's a guy who brings a boat that is a BMW underneath of a boat body, and it's insane, but it works extremely well. Guys coming back out on the track, give them a chance there to take the car back, cool it down, let Kevin check his tires and all that good stuff. Theon Nelson going to lead the way for Kevin Ferraro in this one more time battle. All right, lights are on. Theon maybe getting in his nerves there a little bit. big thumbs up from both guys. They are good to leave the line. The lights are off. Kevin Ferraro on the way. This is another one that not really sure which way this is going to go. Both guys doing a very, very good job. I would say Kevin's lead line maybe just a little bit cleaner. Theon, though, in the chase, doing a fantastic job everywhere. So very interesting to see two very different cars. The only thing that makes them similar is they are both 6 cylinders and they are both turbo. Theon Nelson built that turbo kit by himself, taught himself how to fabricate in the process. So a huge shout out to him. Kevin Ferraro, an absolutely amazing fabricator as well. I know he did all the work on that E36 by himself, so if you get the chance to go take a look at it, it is insane the level of car that E36 actually is when you get up close to it. And just giving you guys a side-by-side there of both runs. The judges requesting so they can take a little bit better look at that infield section. It is a really kind of awkward transition to come off the bank and transition to an outside zone and then to come back to an inner clip. So you're just scrubbing a ton of speed coming off the bank and trying to make it stick and don't over-rotate. Just a lot of calculations going on there between turn 1 and 2. The decision is in. Kevin Ferraro going to move on over Theon Nelson. All right, while we wait here for Ferraro to go back in, give the tires a check, get the car cooled down. Just gonna take a look here at the YouTube stream, see what's going on in there. I see a Shalom Miata, that is Darren, that is the other announcer who's not here because he's at work for the Air Force. Says if he brings a boat, can I bring the Warthog? Yeah, dude, do it. You can bird, 100%. It was a good fight, absolutely. Amazing, fantastic. Cannot ask for a better battle, especially for a top 32 in a seating bracket. I also see tell Scott to bring me home some pizza logs. So you have your marching orders, Scott. You can see Nick Johnson in the Mustang going to lead the way for Kevin Ferraro here in the finals for the seating bracket. On the side of the Mustang on the first half of this battle. Really interesting to see what happens in the second half of this battle. Kind of different driving styles. Kevin's a very almost kind of robotic lead line. He has everything exactly where it needs to be at the same initiation. Nick up to the bank wall there to finish out the second half of this battle. Absolutely phenomenal there by Ferraro in the lead. Johnson looks like maybe just kind of struggling to keep up with the grip of the E36 there in the Mustang. Not sure what the Mustang makes power-wise, but I know from watching him previously it is a lot. And Ferraro is going to take it over Nick Johnson here. Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Ferraro shows up for his first round, which is the final round of the Great Lakes Pro-Am Series. It absolutely decimates the seating bracket. Cannot wait to see what happens as the night progresses for Mr. Ferraro. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that is going to finish up the seating bracket. You can see there 1, 2, 3, and 4, Ferraro, Johnson, Brackstone, Nelson in that order. 6:30, we will be coming back to start the top 32 for the final round here of the 2025 Great Lakes Pro-Am Series.